Hello and welcome. Good morning. It is 8 o'clock. It is the 7th day of October 2021, and I am your number one source for all the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, and sports, the OGGM. Last night I was live streaming with the Legion of Myth group on our new co-op roundtable program, Gatekeeping Game Masters. You can check that out. I have a link down below. And the topic came up: why am I not angry or posting about how much money Critical Role made? So they are referring to an article that appeared, I think it was yesterday, 20 hours ago. Apparently there was a hack of Amazon, and during the hack, a lot of data was breached, and some of the information that was breached and made public was how much money several of the Twitchers have made. And of course, the top spot is Critical Role, who over the past year has made about $10 million via Twitch sponsorships, donations, gifts, advertising, whatever. So sometime in the last year or so, and this is not counting the money that the Kickstarter for their animated cartoon made. That's a separate amount of money. This is just the amount of money Critical Role's Twitch channel has made according to the Amazon breach over the past year. 9 point something million dollars. And somebody said, am I going to rail against this? Am I angry that they made this much money? Well, I'm angry that they made it and I didn't, obviously. But no, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed that they have conned enough people to give them $10 million through the advertising and the sponsorship and the gifts and everything else. But I'm not angry. I'm surprised that people are surprised. I'm not angry. When the person first mentioned it to me, I was like, and you're surprised? You're upset that they made this much money? I mean, yes, it's an outrageous amount of money. And it's outrageous that there are $10 million worth of people that would spend hard-earned money on them, not, plus the gifts and advertising and sponsorship, because, yes, they're sponsored. So, yeah, I was like, this is a surprise. We know that they made a ton of money. This is a surprise. We know that people have given them money. We know that they're sponsored. I'm not upset. Except, of course, I would rather that money have gone to me or a charity. But no, I'm not upset. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, like I said, that they've conned $10 million worth of money out of people who probably could have done better things with that money than give it to them because they didn't really need it, And that's a lot of people who are depressed and sad and in bad mental places, and they're giving money to Critical Role because they feel Critical Role has helped them through something, and they want to reward Critical Role because Critical Role brings them joy. And that upsets me because that's money that you could have used on yourself. That's money you could have used to go to a therapist. There's money you could have used to get the meds that you need to deal with your mental and emotional issues. It's money you could have used to buy food and clothing and things to make your life better, and therefore succeed in making you feel better about yourself by receiving the treatment and all the things that you need to get your head in a better place. But instead you're giving it to them. And that's money that might have been important to you. That's money that maybe could have gone to something more important like food and clothing and meds and therapy and exercise and education and charity. But instead, it went to Critical Role, which they don't need. Now, the weird thing is the money went to Critical Role. And after that, where did it go? Because Critical Role is not a person. It's a group of people. It's an organization. And I'm not even sure if the organization is actually called Critical Role. I mean, I don't think they're a corporation. So I assume that the money goes into a general pot and then is divided amongst the various individuals. plus or minus what else goes to production and upkeep and all the little bits and pieces of things that they have to spend money on a regular basis to get the Critical Role thing onto the YouTube and the Twitch, because they have effects and they have sets and they have costumes and they have props and they have a studio and they have sets for the studio and they have editing and they have to pay the editors and they have to pay the sound people and they have to pay the people who come in and clean up and set up the set. They have to pay for transportation to and from cons. So I assume the money goes into a pot and then the money's divided by needs of the organization and then the rest goes to the individuals. And if they're smart, that rest is actually going into, accounts and things, so it's not taxed. Because the tax on $10 million to people like that, probably pretty decent. And again, they didn't need that money. They all have real jobs. None of them have said, I am quitting voice acting, I am quitting act, I am quitting creativity to devote my entire life to the Critical Role project. They're at the point where they probably could, but none of them have done that yet. Well, maybe Mercer has. He does seem to spend a lot of time working on the game, but I don't think any of them have given up their life of entertainment to devoted entirely to this. That would be a mistake and a horrible example. Never quit your day job. Even if I had $10 million sitting here right here, I would still do this. I would still work for Team Primetime. I would still tutor and I would still work for kids because I never know if that money is going to disappear. So hopefully none of them have quit their day job. But I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm surprised that people are surprised that they made this much money. We know that during the pandemic, when a lot of the world shut down and all people had to do was stare at the computer, a huge portion of that was nerds like me, and a huge portion of those nerds like me were using Critical Role as their escape. And of course, the whole point of Twitch is to have you donate them money through Twitch gifts and super chats and stuff like that. So you're gifting these people, $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, $200. Are they in turn giving any of that money to charity, or is that all just being reused to continue the product? Are they giving it to themselves? Is it going into a pot and a trust? That part, I don't know. Because I don't know if they're incorporated, if how the actual Critical Role as an organization in the financial world works. We do know that they have a production company now, and they have their publishing house now. So I would assume a lot of that money is being recycled into the production company and into the publishing house to make sure that the product that the publishing house is making actually meets the standards and gets out on the shelves on time. And a lot of the money's probably going into the production company to keep for overhead and all the other things you need to run the studio that Critical Role is filmed in on a daily basis, because that's to keep a studio running, that's a lot of money, because you're not just paying your actors, you're paying everybody behind the scenes. And yes, there are people behind the scenes. Critical Role is a production. There are a lot of people who are doing editing and sound and lighting and effects and continuation. Like why was the coffee cup wasn't there in the scene, but now the coffee cup is there and stuff like that. And they've got press and they've got people who, now have to protect them, because now people know that they have $10 million. This means now they're going to have to start thinking about where that money's going and investing that money correctly and making sure Laura and Travis's kid is taken care of. And if Marissa and Matt have a kid, they're probably going to start thinking, trust funds and college educations. So it's not like they're just putting that $10 million in their pocket and going, we fooled you. But yeah, not upset. I don't really think this is news. It's not a surprise. Anybody who is surprised obviously hasn't been paying attention to the media juggernaut that is Critical Role. Will they make another $10 million this year? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they're going to make money again because campaign 3 is starting. And again, it's going to be the same thing. Twitch money, YouTube money, gifts, donations. And really, If they are half the humanitarians they claim they are, they should be telling people, don't give us money, give the money to charity. As much as I want to sell out and as much as I want people to give me money through the YouTube and the Ko-Fi and the locals, really, if I had a choice between you giving that money to me and you giving that money to like my brother's charity, Team Primetime, I would rather you give the money to Team Primetime or education or autism awareness or charity. There's a choice between Critical Role and a charity, and you've got that kind of money, you should be giving it to the charity. So that's what upsets me. That upsets me and disappoints me, that the money went to them. And it's money those people probably needed, and they shilled that money out of them, because that's what Twitch is. Twitch is you doing something to get money and to get those gifts and to get those super chats and to get those donations and to get those, when you have to pay for extra emojis and all the other things you do on Twitch, plus the fans only stuff. And, so give that money to charity instead then. So there you go. I don't really know if that counts as news, but I said I'd talk about it, so I'd talk about it. And besides, whenever I talk about Critical Role, I get a lot of hits. So if you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If you're surprised that they made $10 million, let me know. If you're disappointed that they made $10 million and that think like I do that money should have gone to someplace else and those people should have used this money on themselves, let me know. What do you think Critical Role should do with their $10 million? What do you think Amazon should do to protect their Twitch streamers so this doesn't happen again? Let me know. Till next time, I am your guide to all the tabletop role-playing news, weather, and sports. The man who really doesn't like Critical Role and is not afraid to admit it. Talk to you later. Why don't you give me $10 million instead?